Going to talk about that one word that is going to most likely define your career over the next 10 years, and that is going to be the metaverse. There is so much conversation happening around the metaverse. So Goldman Sachs estimates that the metaverse is an $8 trillion opportunity. People are buying property on the metaverse, people are going on dates on the metaverse, people are buying clothes on the metaverse, people are buying bags on the metaverse, people are opening lounges on the metaverse. But how do you actually demystify the metaverse? And in this video, I'm going to talk about what the metaverse is. How is it likely to play out in your lives? Which are the industries that will succeed, and what are some of the red flags that you should look out for? Before we get started, do click on the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. So let's come to the first question. What is the metaverse? Now, in very simple English, what the metaverse is that whatever interaction you have in the physical world actually moves to the meta world. For instance, if you and your friends are playing cricket in your local gully on the ground floor, now that entire thing will move to the metaverse. Or if you are going on a date in the real world, now you can go for a date in the metaverse. If you are attending a movie or attending a cricket match in the real world, you can actually get the best seat for that cricket match in the meta world or the virtual world. So whatever you are doing in the physical world can potentially go into the virtual world, and that essentially is the metaverse. The second question is, how is this likely to play out? What are some of the use cases that we will see over the next 18 to 24 months in India? Now, the closest to where the metaverse is coming to life is actually multiplayer gaming. You have multiplayer gaming has evolved to such a great extent in India. Now you have gamers who are actually live streaming their strategies and live streaming how they play. Now, what will happen with the metaverse is you will actually throw in crypto as the currency. You can buy apparel in the game, you can buy points in the game. There will also be NFTs that will be thrown in. So a gamer might say that this is an NFT. This is the first time I crossed 1,000 points in the game, and who would like to buy it? So if you really look at the metaverse, it's actually multiplayer gaming that's actually come closest to the metaverse. Another way it will influence your life is how you work in the corporate. So say when you join a new company, what happens is the first 2 or 3 days you go through these boring onboarding sessions. You will attend Zoom calls, a presentation will be given. It becomes a torture to attend those 3 days. Now, how will this play out in the metaverse? In the metaverse, you will log into a 3D world. This will be designed as a treasure hunt, and the entire onboarding experience will be done as a game, as a treasure hunt, where you'll actually locate the treasure and try and go through the onboarding experience. It will be really, really fun, and it's being done right now as I talk about this. None of this, what I'm telling you, is totally fancy. The second thing is today when you want to attend a meeting virtually through Zoom, through Google, you attend a virtual call. But going forward, all of you from the comfort of your homes can potentially have an offsite in the West Indies. Say, for instance, your digital avatars will actually attend those offsite in the West Indies, and you'll feel like it's a natural 3D immersive experience. The other way the metaverse is likely to play out is the way you actually shop. So say you want to buy a bike or you want to buy a car, you can actually go for the test drive, a very real life simulating test drive in the virtual environment. You can also go shopping in a 3D environment. The entire mall can look brilliant in a immersive 3D environment. You can buy real bags, you can buy virtual bags, you can relax in a theater which gives you real drinks which will courier to your house, or you can also enjoy a virtual drink. Now, there are certain use cases which will take a little longer, but they are likely to visit India in the next year or two. So, for instance, the India-Pakistan cricket match, the T20 match, the T20 World Cup is later in Australia this year at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Now, you can either be at MCG or you can watch it from Hotstar or your television. But in the metaverse, you can actually get into that stadium, potentially take the best seat in that stadium, and actually watch the match virtually. In the metaverse, you can go to New York, you can potentially walk down Times Square and get a very real life feel in terms of how that street looks like. There are very interesting applications of the metaverse. There are startups who are piloting this idea that you can go on a date in the metaverse, say on the surface of the moon that has been created artificially for you. So there are many, many applications of the metaverse. A lot of companies are into this space. The second question is in terms of who will gain from this metaverse. The number one sector that will gain from the metaverse is the telecom sector. So Credit Suisse estimates that data consumption will rise 20 times in the next 10 years. Why? Because if you're talking of a virtual environment which is so robust, so immersive, so much real life feel, there's a lot of data consumption. So companies like Airtel, companies like Jio are expected to do really, really well. The second set of companies are all the tech companies, because they need to build softwares for the metaverse. They need to build platforms for the metaverse. They need to build applications for the metaverse. So all the service providers, all the product companies are expected to do very, very well on the metaverse. The third set of people are people like you and me, content creators who are expected to do very well on the metaverse. Today, we just create content. We make videos like where you are listening to where you're listening to me right now. But on the metaverse, we will get currency and you can buy my merchandise. You can buy my NFTs. There is content and there is community. Imagine we can all sit in a 3D atmosphere and interact face to face in the metaverse. So content creators will get a huge boom when it comes from the metaverse. The next question you will have is, so if everything is so good, should we be worried about anything about the metaverse? And the answer is, there are a lot of things you should be worried about when it comes to the metaverse. Now, the first thing is there is a structural challenge. For the metaverse to work, you need a 5G internet infrastructure, at least if not a 6G internet infrastructure, because we're talking of a 3D environment, a 3D virtual environment where you need a headset, you will need a super fast internet connection so that the physical world comes close to being replicated in the virtual world. Now, 5G is only getting rolled out later this year. 6G is some time away. So it will take 2 to 3 years in India before some of the use cases I spoke to you about start coming to life. Now, there are certain concerns that are there about the metaverse. The first thing is, when you talk of currency, say you want to purchase something on the metaverse, a bag, property, land, anything. Typically, crypto is the default currency, but there is no clear policy by the government right now in terms of cryptocurrency. So that is something that needs to be worked out as part of the metaverse. The second thing that needs to be worked out, and it's very, very scary, is there is so much user information that you will have. Today, what happens is you only have your transactions on the internet and you get worried about your private data. Imagine when you're leading half your life in the metaverse, you're meeting people in the metaverse, you're shopping in the metaverse, you're doing your work in the metaverse. There is so much information. So there needs to be a policy in terms of where do you keep this data? How do you prevent theft of this data? Who owns this data? Who can monetize this data? And that's a big, big question mark that needs to be answered. Finally, and the most important risk with the metaverse is you are creating a parallel world. Who is going to maintain law and order in that parallel world? You don't want bullying. You don't want people beating you up in the metaverse, especially when women are going to enter the metaverse. There's harassment that can happen in the metaverse. So there needs to be policies, there needs to be governance, there needs to be law and order that needs to be set up in the metaverse. Or if it is not done properly, like social media, it can turn into a toxic environment very, very easily. So this is a starting video I have made on the metaverse. Hope this clarifies and gives you a little more visibility into what this exotic term means. Before we finish, do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon. Until next time, take care.